So that those numbers. 2 years.
Oh,
Oh.
Go down and look. So the third cut.
Now
They did it 3 years. Little detail.
maybe the fish was what the total abatement.
Yeah, it's a 5-year thing.
Yeah, it's 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get more information about it.
Welcome, everyone. We'll call our town council meeting to order and rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United Roll call.
Council Atkinson. Here. Council Cola. Here. Mayor Kaczynski.
Here.
Council Pianessa. Council, here. Council Rosso.
Here.
And Council D. Here. There you have one.
Thank you. Next up is our audience of citizens. If anyone wishes to address us on anything on the agenda or not on the agenda, now would be your time. Well, so, okay, we wanted to add like that one discussion on
Do you want to add
the
it?
cemetery. Well, yeah, we have. So we'll make a motion when we get to the beginning of the agenda. Yeah, or should we do it now?
You want to do it now? If you want to.
Let's just do it now, since we're talking about it. So,
Want somebody to come up and.
well, let's get through, we'll get through after, we'll do it first and the new business.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, hang on, don't go there. So we just wanna, make a motion to add as number 1. what was that?
1A.
1A, okay, 1A, discussion on, was it West Lane? So move second,
I'll second that.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, all right, so moved. So we'll just a couple more. So we're still in the audience of citizens, anyone else, want to speak to us about anything on the agenda? Or off the agenda, now would be the time, or on. No hand raising. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and close our audience of citizens and we will go on to the mayor's update. And the only thing I have for the update is I have a proclamation in recognition of Black History Month. I will read it. So during Black History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by African Americans to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. Black History Month grew out of the establishment in 1926 of Negro History Week by Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. The observance of Black History Month calls our attention to continue to battle racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. The town of Berlin continues to be an inclusive community in which all citizens are respected, recognized for their contributions to our community and country. And to honor Dr. Martin Luther King for his work for civil rights, equal rights, and as the most important voice of the American civil rights movement, for which he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. The town of Berlin is proud to honor the history and contributions of African Americans in our community throughout the state and our nation. So now be it resolved that I, Mark Kaczynski, Mayor of the town of Berlin, officially recognize February 2024 as Black History Month, dated today's date. So thank you for that, and we'll see if usually sometimes I haven't heard of that, that celebration they usually do at the library.
Juneteenth is what they celebrate.
Did they do it on Juneteenth over there? Oh.
Yeah, it's in June, so.
Yeah, I know we have a different one for that, but if there's another one, we will present it to those folks then too. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you all. That's all for my update. Oh, yes, we did want to mention that. So Water Control Commission member Barry Fairwood, I think he passed away. Unexpectedly. Yeah, so, and when did that, Charlie, you brought me?
believe yesterday.
Yesterday? And that was unexpected. Very. So we're sorry about that. Please, we'll pass our condolences on to his family. And he had been on there for a long time.
Yeah, believe it.
Remember, we get pointing many times, so. Yes, our condolences to his family. Thank you, Charlie, for reminding me. And now we'll just go ahead to our consent agenda, where we have 7 items here. Donation, number 1, donation of a round of golf for 4 and 2 carts to be used as a raffle prize during the Berlin High School Music and Theater Development Jazz Pizzazz event. Number 2, approve the donation of a round of golf for 4 and 2 carts to be used as a raffle during the St. Paul School Garden Gala. Accept the Timberland Golf Course Men's Club donation of $1,300 towards the repairs of the 1998 Easy Go Kart. Notice the Goosenator, we gotta keep the Goosenator working. Accept donations to the Berlin Animal Control donation account for $350 for animal care and supplies and vet fees. Number 5, accept the donations of $125 and appropriate the funds to the supplies expenditure account. Number 6, accept the donation of $100 and appropriate the funds to the police canine program expenditure account. And number 7, approve the appointments of Planning and Zoning Commissioner Tig Zigmont to the Regional Planning Commission and alternate commission member John Dykem as alternate to the Regional Planning Commission. So those are our consent agendas. We go ahead and take a motion.
I move we accept the consent agenda to point as presented.
Thank you. Second on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, so moved. Thank you. So we have now 1A, about the cemetery. Mr. Munson, come on up. Yeah, you have to come up and just give us your name.
Kate,
Yeah, we don't want Kate, you don't want Kate on.
I'm mean.
Not
Your name and your address.
at all. Not at all.
Michael Munson, 658 Edgewood Road, Kensington.
Welcome. How you doing?
Good.
So what do you have for us?
Well, currently the cemetery is. So we, at West Lane, we do not have any more open area to sell like the other large cemeteries in town.
Okay.
So we have a few graves here and there that are for sale. We just haven't been able to sell them. And that's how we've been operating over the past few years. We get people that turn back a few graves and then we turn around and sell them. So we keep it going. Basically, the cemetery, my grandfather was in charge of the cemetery. My uncle took it over and now my uncle's 86 and can't do it anymore. So I'm trying to take it over. It's just tough with no funds. And right now we have a $3,000 insurance bill that's due, and we don't have that in the fund to pay that. So, my uncle's talked about turning the cemetery over to the town. My sister does all the grass cutting there. I do everything else. So I do all the tree cutting and whatever else has to be done at the cemetery. With the exception of the full burial digging, with that, we have a contractor committee to do for us. So,
So has that been a private cemetery for?
it's not a private cemetery, it's association. West Lane Cemetery Association is what runs it,
Okay,
so.
so there's a a board of directors or something, or?
Yeah, my uncle, myself, and my aunt.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
But it-
yeah, you just, we used to, I remember being young, going to the meetings that they had, and they used to get a dozen people there and everything. And then it dwindled and went to nothing. And you'd send out invitations or notify people when it was gonna be and nobody would show up. So it ended up just being us. So,
So it's owned by the association, so private, I mean,
Yeah.
private owned.
People that have the plots there.
Yeah.
is that what
Yes.
the People
Yeah.
that own the plots.
yeah, actually, anybody that buys a plot there becomes a member of the association. It's just, they're not active, you know. There's no interest in helping out.
Right, so are there plots that are purchased that folks, when they pass on, would use those plots?
Yes, so the majority of the plots there were sold back in the seventies. That's when we did 2 additions and an addition on each side of the cemetery. And they were sold for $100 a piece back then. And so that money was put aside and we worked off the interest from that. Now, one of the other things that we've had to do over the years, we used to go to the Marjorie Moore Fund because Marjorie Moore is buried there. And we approached them and they would give us money for the cemetery. We've approached Marjorie Moore, but now that it's with Bank of America, they want us to put up a billboard there that says proudly donated by Bank of America in big letters and small letters through Marjorie Moore. And we just can't see that at cemetery, just not right. So.
How big they want the billboard to be, it's not
Well, that's, you know,
strange.
it's just not right at the cemetery anyways.
No, so we're not all the time.
So, like I said, we've been trying and, you know, I mean, I do we used to send we have 2 international tractors that we use to mow the cemetery. My sister does all the mowing. And we used to send those out for repair. We don't do that anymore. I do all that. I buy my own chainsaws. I buy my own equipment to work there. And, to do the trimming and stuff like that and all. And, you know, so I'm willing to do that and I'm willing to keep going and keep it going. My sister is too. We can't go without insurance. We have to have the insurance on the cemetery. And we need some money for some incidentals, you know, that come up during the course of the year.
Are there more plots to be sold?
We have a few,
Yeah.
but we've been closed for so long that people don't know about us. And yes, I reached out to the local funeral homes, funeral directors and everything, and they know we do have a few lots here and there. And once in a while, they'll point somebody in our direction if they need it, you know, but it's not a regular basis and it's not enough to keep us going right now. Yeah.
Okay, so I know there's state statutes that govern things like this. Jeff, I'm gonna ask you if you could help us at least. I don't think it's a unique,
Oh, it is, it's unusual.
unusual area.
It's on High Road for those of you that don't know where it is. It's, you know, although it connects almost where the West Lane used to.
Yes, yeah, the original entrance was on West
Was,
Lane.
okay.
That's why it's
That's why.
it came from West Lane through the woods over to the cemetery. The oldest graves in there are late 1700s. So it's,
How many grave sites are there? Yeah.
that I don't know. I'm sure.
Okay. Jeff, what do you?
I mean, there's a statute that under specific circumstances allows municipalities to take over what the legislature defines as abandoned cemeteries. Abandoned cemeteries are cemeteries where there's been no burial in the previous 40 years. And the lots or graves haven't been maintained during the last 10 years. So this doesn't fit the definition of an abandoned cemetery. You know, looking at the Municipal Powers Act, you know, there's nothing in our charter that talks about taking over privately owned cemeteries. There's not really anything in the Municipal Powers Act that fits this. So we'd have to look at it more closely to see whether or not it's even something the municipality is authorized to do.
I have done the research on that. And yes, we can dissolve the association and turn the records and everything over to the town. then it's up to the town on what they want to do with the cemetery. And yes, the town at that point could, because there are Civil War veterans and everything buried there, emit a historical site and not allow any more burials in the cemetery. And that's one of the reasons why I've been pressuring my uncle not to do that, is because that there's still lots available. You know, we have a funeral this week that's gonna happen there, you know, and actually two of them. And, you know, so people still have lots there that they bought and paid for and plan on using there, you know, and that's why I would hate to see that happen. And I have seen this in, you know, there's a cemetery in Meriden, right in downtown Meriden, that's been turned over to the city, and there's been nothing done there for years. But you know, like I said, myself, my sister, you know, my family, we're still willing to do this. We just need a little bit of financial assistance.
So are the lots to sell in today's dollars? I mean, I would think it'd be
Yeah.
more
Oh, yeah.
expensive than
Yeah.
$100 in 1972 is not
Yeah.
gonna get
Yeah.
you much,
Yeah.
but a lot more.
No, they're $1,000 now.
Is that what they are? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so, I mean.
Like I said, we've only got, I think, 4 lots right now,
Lot
so.
To sell.
to sell.
Full size lots. I
Okay.
do have some cremation lots for $500,
Okay.
you know, and, but I haven't had a lot of takers on those.
Got it.
And I have met with Dave Alkus, who runs South Burying Ground,
Hmm.
and we've compared pricing and stuff like that. I don't, you know, you hear the ads for the Catholic Cemetery Association and everything, well, their fees are really outrageous.
Hmm.
You know, and we're more on the same, you know, even, you know, I've talked to Dick Benson over at, you know, Wilcox. You know, we do talk about these things, but fortunately, like I said, those people have open land where they're still selling. So they're bringing in
Revenue.
revenue to keep it going.
Anything else?
Mayor, can I just ask, the cemetery commission that we have now, is there any way that they could assist there in terms of, you know, maintenance, upkeep? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, not for- but,
I mean, do we have, can't we? I mean, does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
It's not a.
Right, it's not, we don't own it, that's why I'm just wondering, you know, I know with the plowing, like it snowed and they didn't have an opportunity, you know, they don't have a plow.
The cemetery commission takes care of town owned,
Right.
and they do get a budget. And they have worked, in fact, they'll probably be here hopefully at the next council meeting to show what they've done. But they have worked extremely hard to maintain these town owned ones. And it's still gonna cost, I mean, they're trying to repair stones, all these things that have not been taken care of. They don't have equipment, they rely on other grounds.
There's no.
Right.
It's town now.
That's
Right, and except for tree removal, where tree removal, they do go under the town contract. And they'll come in with whatever is in their budget. But this is all, it's not a private cemetery.
Right, that seems to be the problem, because apparently.
Well, that's the first issue, right, is
Yeah.
And then there is a financial issue, and I would question whether or not Marjorie Moore would be willing to give you a grant. Now, I know that usually those things have to be submitted by December 1st, because I've experienced that in the past. And maybe, you know, give you some assistance in trying to write a grant to help with that insurance fee and some upkeep. And perhaps just a small plaque at the bottom of the cemetery would be sufficient under the circumstances instead of a huge banner, you know? I don't know. I mean, I'd be willing to work with you on that, clearly. You know, it sounds like a Band-Aid, and it probably is for a short period of time until we can maybe come up with, you know, something else. I mean, after all, you know, I would guess, and off the top of my head, these are deceased residents of the town of Berlin. I mean, I would hate to not try to help, whether it's private or publicly owned, you know, if there was anything that we could do with the council.
There's other organizations out there. Have you tried anyone else or more or?
Not really, not really. I don't know.
I mean, you may even get some assistance now that I know Marjorie Moore is buried there from the Historical Society here in town. They're,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that they are a very active group in preserving, you know, the history of this community. And it's possible, you know, although they're, you know, elderly and up in years, maybe there's some sort of funds that they may be able to help with this until you figure out what you need to do. And
Yeah.
I can put you, I don't know if you know Lorraine Stubbs or not, but I can put you in contact with some of those people and even go with you if you'd like, you know? I mean, it's right down the road from where I live. I can be there every day and you do a nice job in upkeep. I didn't realize it was, you know, a problem. And actually, I thought the town owned it, quite honestly. You know, I didn't know that it was privately owned. And I don't know, maybe Jeff, you can check into, see if there's a possibility, if this doesn't work and we can't put this together. If you're willing to give it up and if we're willing to pick it up, I don't know.
Well, there are different, I don't know anything about the cemetery other than what Mr. Munson told us tonight, but there are different grant, federal and state grant opportunities available, so you might want to look into those. Whether it be, you know, National Historic Grant, Cemetery Grant, there's veterans cemetery grants, if there's, you know, veterans that are buried there. From a different layers of analysis that need to take place. The first is authorization, right? So the way the law works in Connecticut is we have something called the Municipal Powers Act, which is Connecticut General Statute 7-148. And the Municipal Powers Act says, here's the things that a municipality is allowed to do. Connecticut's a home rule state. So in addition to what's in the Municipal Powers Act, you can create a charter, which becomes the organic law of the town. We have a charter here that gives you authorization consistent with the Municipal Powers Act. So we don't have anything in our charter that says that we're authorized to acquire a cemetery. But let's say we are, okay? Okay. The next thing that needs to happen is you need to do an 8-24 referral. Because you're acquiring an interest in real estate. So it needs to go to planning and zoning. Okay? Then we need to talk about liabilities. You know, are you gonna do an audit? What are you taking over in terms of liabilities? I don't know how many plots are sold. I don't know what the paperwork looks like. I mean, there would have to be due diligence, because once you take it over, you're stuck with it forever. Because according to the statute, if you were to treat this as an abandoned cemetery, municipalities can take over abandoned cemeteries, but they can never divest them. Based on the current statute. So if you take it over, it's yours forever. So you better make sure that in terms of liabilities that you're taking on, that you have a good accounting for what you get yourself into.
Yeah, and the abandoned ones haven't had a burial in
10, what was it?
40,
40 years.
And then what was that 10-year?
Was it
not maintained
Not made.
Oh, no, I take it.
by anybody but the municipality.
Oh,
So if you're going in there cutting the grass because you don't wanna look at it. It's okay.
um,
I mean, maybe even the historic society can help.
Well, that's
since
what-
There's some there, maybe they can even, maybe not give money out of their own coffers, but maybe they can help doing some fundraising or something.
or help you with a grant too.
Yeah,
Something
Well,
that's,
those girls know how to write grants too, and I would certainly
you help
help
that.
you with Marjorie Moore. I will work with you on that. I'm just trying to think, you know, what can we do? I mean,
Yeah.
Mr. Munson called me and Harper.
Yeah.
I said, well, let's bring it up to the mayor, let's talk
Yeah.
to the council
Yeah.
and see if we put a bunch of heads together, maybe we can come up with some sort of solution.
It sounds
Why
like
don't we start there?
we need money fairly.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, quickly pay the bills.
And then pursue some grants too, for maybe for the future and.
It is involved with the Blue Ridge Cemetery. Is it the Blue Ridge? Which one is he?
Dave Alpes is South Bend.
Okay, South Berry Ross. Maybe, maybe speak with him. The Lions might even be willing to help out. You know, if we can get a little piece from them, you know, and try to get a ball rolling here. I don't know. I mean, okay.
It sounds like it's difficult for the town, which would be a much longer process, not to say we wouldn't look at it, but I think you need some help, you know, immediately.
Immediate future.
Yeah.
Future,
Yeah.
and for the future.
Future too, yeah.
Plan for the
Yeah,
future.
I really have to plan for the future because right now,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, it's okay for you, but what
yes,
down the
yeah.
road, then who's
Yeah,
gonna do it?
there's a lot down the road that I have to think about. My uncle lives around the corner where we keep the equipment and I drive down the road to get there. My uncle is 86 and, you know,
Thank you for your family and yourself for doing what you've done for this community, you know, it's not how things are done these days. And
Yeah.
hopefully we can find a solution for you, you know?
So we're gonna get them to the historical society, maybe. And
Reach out, just reach out to you this week,
okay.
okay? No tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
go from
Thank you.
there. Okay, all right, so on to our agenda.
The first item on the agenda is annual presentation of the Central Connecticut Health District annual report. Charlie Brown there. Hey, Charlie.
Hello, how is everybody tonight?
Hey, how are you, Charles? How's it going?
Doing well. So I'm going to share my screen for my presentation. Just one moment. Okay. Can everybody see? There you
Yes,
go.
We got it.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
yes, sir.
We have it.
Okay, so thank you for allowing us to present on our annual update to our member towns. My name is Charles Brown. I'm the Health Director for the Central Connecticut Health District. Tonight in the town chambers, I actually have two of our board members from the town of Berlin, Dr. Patricia Checco, and our newest board member, Cynthia Mitchell, who are there to help support the presentation. In addition, Lisa Panessa is also on our board, but unfortunately she had to support another commission for the town at this time. So some general information about Central Connecticut Health District. We are the local health department for the towns of Berlin, Newington, Rocky Hill, and Weathersfield, serving a combined population of just over 98,000. We were founded in 1996, so we've had 28 years of providing a broad range of public health services to our member towns. As you can see, we're one of 20 regional public health departments in Connecticut. We're right there in the middle in number 3. And we are one of the big blue health districts in the state. As you can see, most of Connecticut is actually covered by regional public health departments. General information about us, our central office and now our clinical office are both located here in Rocky Hill. Our general office is at 2080 Celestine Highway, and our new clinical services is on the Cromwell Avenue there in Rocky Hill as well. We have 15 full-time employees, including several grant-funded positions, and we have over 50 active professional and lay volunteers that assist us with a variety of things, including our vaccination.
No, I'm just, I don't have to do anything.
So we have an oversight from our 14-member Board of Health. So we have 3 board members from Berlin, 4 from Newington, 3 from Rocky Hill, and 3 from Weathersfield. So talking a little bit about the bottom line, our last audit from 22-23 showed our revenues at just a little over $1.7 million. That's split up in contributions between our town contributions, program revenue that we bring in from licensing establishments like food service, our motel, hotels, salons, and other activities. And we've gotten a large amount of funding here recently due to COVID from federal grants and other grants through the state. Our expenditures, as you can see, were a little bit below what we brought in revenue in the last time. And mostly, it's really about our staff. We don't make widgets. What we do is provide professional services, and that really does take up the majority of the funding that we receive, as salary and employee benefits being the largest expenses that we have. A little bit in professional contracts, and our program and operating expenses at about $316,000. So a little bit of difference between what people understand as far as healthcare and public health. They're similar but different. So most people have had experience with healthcare, and they know that the primary focus is really on the individual. The interventions that they see when they're sick is really the diagnosis of what's going on, and then the ultimate treatment. That process of the management of patient care is really what they use to bring that individual back to health. Public health, really, our primary focus is the population as a whole. Our interventions that we use are assessments of the health of the community, developing policies, and assuring that those policies are carried out. We use systems management like, looking at the environment and human behavior as the process that we use to be able to bring and ensure that we have healthy communities. So I'll talk a little bit tonight about the purpose of a public health agency. So we really look at preventing epidemics and the spread of disease, protecting against environmental hazards, preventing injuries, promoting and encourage healthy behaviors. As many of you saw during the pandemic, we really respond to disasters and assist those communities in recovery, and ultimately assure the quality and accessibility of health services. As the cartoon there says, I really would like to be able to walk up to the pharmacy and ask for an ounce of prevention. It would make my job a lot easier, but unfortunately, we can't do that. Wanted to go over the 10 essential services of public health. As you can see, the assessment, policy, development, and assurance really encompass those 10 essential services. They've changed a little bit of their focus here in the past few years, where, traditionally at the beginning of the 10 essential services, they really focused around research being at the hub of everything. Now they've changed to really have equity be the center of everything that we do through assessment, our policy development, and our assurance efforts to make sure that everyone has an equitable share of the public health services that are provided. One of the biggest things I wanted to talk about tonight was how we prevent epidemics and the spread of disease. We are very lucky to be able to have an epidemiologist that we're able to bring on through grants in COVID. Christine Gasik is our epi. Every week, she actually works to develop a weekly epidemiologist report that we share with the town managers, school superintendents, and a lot of our partners to be able to utilize data in ways that can help aid decision-making. So some of the things that she looks at include influenza-like illness surveillance and, of course, COVID-19 surveillance. So looking at the influenza, we all know that or have heard that, last year or this past season has been a really difficult respiratory season for everybody. But looking at the data, we can see that for sure because 10 out of the last 12 months, we've actually seen more cases than our last 5-year average, and that includes a lot of the COVID data. So, things like RSV, influenza, and COVID, all the respiratory things that we're seeing, we're really able to see that much better with the data that our epidemiologist provides, and really are able to get messaging out appropriately to be able to make decisions that affect the health of our communities. So that data surveillance and that epidemiological function becomes very important for things like respiratory viruses, for sexually transmitted infections, but also for things like opioids and mental health issues. We deal with things like foodborne illness, tick-borne illness on a regular basis. And some of you may have seen, in the news that measles is actually making a comeback, and have seen a lot of issues with respect to that. So how we can work with school nurses, how we can work with our regional and statewide partners to assure that vaccination rates are appropriate are things that we can only do if we understand the health of the community, and our epidemiologist really does allow us to do that. The foundation of really a lot of the public health work really relies on our environmental health division. Our sanitarians and our health inspectors really do a lot of work. They've done over 1,500 food service, temporary events, septic, pool, motel, hotel, and salon inspections every year. In addition to that, the plan reviews, the permits and inspections for septic systems and water supply wells also go out and take up a lot of their time. We've also responded back in 2022, the latest data we have, for 223 different complaints. And those complaints really, we work with the state attorney's office, with the Department of Public Health, and our partners at the towns and social services to really address complex issues like hoarding and other housing complaints. It really is the foundation of what we do in prevention is our environmental health folks. In addition to our environmental health, our community health division has really been working very hard on prevention through a variety of things. So many of you know that Public Health Week comes up in the first week of April. And our community health, I'll give you an example of kind of how they approach health within the community. We've got a grant from the state, a preventive health grant that deals with chronic disease reduction. Many years ago, we actually brought all of our towns together to talk about how we can do active living within the communities. So brought them together to talk about a policy called Complete Streets, where towns could really redesign their communities to be able to allow for transportation in a variety of modes, both cars, buses, mass transit, and also active modes of transportation like walking and bicycling. Through that policy initiative, through that bringing people together, we were actually able to allow a spark to start within a couple of our towns in our district, where Wethersfield and Rocky Hill have actually, adopted Complete Streets as a policy, and that assisted them in helping to apply for grants and funding to be able to really change and plan for complete streets within the community. So you may have heard on the news here recently about a grant that's coming down to assist with redesigning the Silas Deane Highway to allow for more of a complete streets policy. In addition to that, work along the Berlin Turnpike to allow for more active modes of transportation is also being conducted. So a lot of these things that we talk about at policy at the local level really does allow that spark that allows for resources to flow in the community and ultimately for the community to be healthier as these municipal policies are adopted. We also look at prevention through health promotion. I'm sure all of you are aware of our 4-town walking competition. Berlin was a powerhouse and had won for a lot of years, that 4-town walking competition. It's coming up again this May, so I encourage all of you to participate in that. But you can also, as you're walking around town, take a look, because there's things like bike repair stations and bike racks that CCHD has helped to fund and provide within the communities as well. And that's part of our community health initiatives. Our vaccination program in October is one of the big things that people see and participate in. We have flu clinics in October, and the main 3 goals is really to prevent influenza, really to practice for a public health emergency. And this was critical prior to COVID because we had plans in place, we had volunteers that were trained, and we were able to do things much more efficiently, when the flag went up, so that we could assure that we could get that vaccine into the community. In addition, this function also provides revenue for the agency. So we actually charge insurance companies and bill them for the vaccines that we provide, and that provides some flexible funding for the agency to be able to do other things for community health. We've been reaching out and more for the homebound to assure that they also get vaccinated. For COVID vaccinations during COVID, we had 38 clinics, in addition to a large amount of homebound that were identified by the state that we were able to vaccinate effectively against that disease. One other thing that we do in community health is our work in asthma, our Putting on Airs program. This is a program where an asthma health educator and environmental specialist actually go into the home of children that may have uncontrolled asthma to assure and inspect to find out what triggers are in the home so that they can be eliminated. And then to educate the family on an asthma health management plan. These home visits really, evolved into virtual visits during COVID, but now we're actually coming back in the home and doing that face-to-face more often. We have a new clinical health services, as I mentioned, there on Cromwell Ave. They do a lot of influenza shots for children, adult, and we've doing a lot of the senior high dose vaccine here recently. But in addition to the mass vaccine clinics that we do, Clinical Health Services actually has that clinic to be able to do individual appointments that they've continued on into January to assure that people actually get vaccinated for a variety of diseases. We're looking again, once again, at COVID-19 vaccination in the fall. And one other thing is the educational component. CT Wiz, which is our immunization registry in the state, actually has a lot of information about the health information about the vaccines that individuals have gotten. So we're looking at educational classes to assure that people can access that information, provide it to their medical providers, regardless of where they get their vaccinations. In addition, testings and screenings are another thing that our clinical health services programs really take into. We're rolling out hepatitis C antibody screenings here very soon. This is a screening that really is recommended once a year, or not once a year, once in your lifetime, to assure that if you've had access or have had exposure to hepatitis C, that you should be treated appropriately. Blood pressure screenings, we have our public health nurse, Amy Emanuel, is actually going to be out there doing blood pressure screenings to assist people with that. And we still have rapid PCR COVID testing if people need that for free at our clinic. One other thing I'd like to highlight is our response to the opioid crisis. So CCHD for several years now has been a convener of local response agencies in our town. We've been bringing folks together in social services around work groups addressing prevention, response, and recovery. We have a grant from the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services, the How Can We Help program, that has a recovery coach that works along the Berlin Turnpike, along the Silas Deane, and anywhere that we can identify as a hotspot for overdoses or substance use. We've been awarded an additional grant working with City of Hartford and the surrounding health towns to be able to look at an overdose to action grant, where we look at data to be able to target efforts efficiently and to be able to standardize approaches to reducing, the impact of substance use disorder within our communities. So as we prepare for the future, some of the things that we've done here recently, we've just this past month, our board passed a new strategic plan for the agency. So we're good till 2028, and we'll be enacting those policies here very soon. Part of that brought into the work that brought into that strategic plan was a community health assessment, which we'll use to help with our community health improvement planning. We're going to engage our communities to be able to assist with that. So I'm going to be talking to Arosha, the town manager, and you as town leaders to be able to assist us in how we actually approach improving the health of the communities that we serve. My last two words, as always, are thank you. Thank you to our member towns, to you, our public, for your continued support. And with that, I stand ready to answer any questions.
Well, thank you, Charlie. We appreciate that report as always. We appreciate you keeping our communities safe and healthy. You know, it's not easy today or any day, quite frankly. So we appreciate all the work that you do on behalf of the 4 member communities. Questions, folks? Any questions? Very good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and y'all have a healthy day.
All right.
Good night, too. Then item number 2, determining golf course 2024 course rates. Styles here to give you a recap of the Elijah Bill and Rubber Greens. Let's take it over, Sal.
Thanks, Rosha. Good evening, everyone.
That's all.
In our recent commission meeting, the commission recommended to keep the rates the same for another season. So the golf team and the finance team developed a budget to reflect that and also to meet the ordinance.
Nice work. Golfers will be happy.
Yeah,
Great.
I hope that. So with that, I assume we'll keep, our finances in order, right, as they have been? We've been doing pretty well out there, right?
yeah, I mean, we've been hitting, a nice trend here for the last few years that, we hope to see again. I mean, it's a pretty aggressive revenue forecasting, but with the numbers in previous years and especially last year, they were up and we were very busy, so.
Questions? So we, need a motion.
Move to approve the 2024 Timberland Golf Course rate.
Second on that?
Second that.
Any other comments, or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved.
Great, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night. You too.
Item number 3, the 2024 fee schedule that we are ready to present to you, and I have Kevin Delaney. So over to you, Kevin.
Good evening, everybody. As Rose said, this is the annual process we go through at the start of the budget to establish our fee schedule for the year. There's a series of fees that are statutory based. They're embedded throughout various departments where those apply. You heard earlier tonight from Charlie Brown, the CCHD rates are embedded within here, and the Central Connecticut Health District determines their rates. And then finally, there are local rates, and various town employees work with their commissions to determine what, if any, changes are warranted or necessary for the town on these various fees. You have the fee schedule in your packet, and changes throughout the schedule are highlighted in yellow. There are no new fees proposed this year from any department. There are a few changes. The Central Connecticut Health District fees have been updated to reflect the changes they implemented on July 1st, 2023. The Senior Center is requesting to increase a fee for new non-resident memberships that would increase by $12. Existing non-resident member fees would remain the same. This would just be for new non-residents. There are a few minor increases in the Parks and Rec fees, which typically occurs each year as we have some labor increases with minimum wage and just the cost to run the programs. And the Water Control Commission is requesting to update their permit and connection charges, which have not been done in a few years. Embedded within here also the Timberland rates, which Saul just presented to you. And then finally, requesting approval to update this fee schedule should any of the statutory based rates or Central Connecticut Health District update their rates, that it would be updated on the town's website for everyone to review.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Lot of fees to look at here.
The changes are
The yellow.
the ones that I highlighted, so a lot of them are still static.
Bless you. Many of them are staying the same. I think that's good. All right, folks, questions on anything? Questions? If there's no questions. Go ahead and take a motion on it.
Move to adopt the 2024 Town of Berlin fee schedule and allow amendments to the fee schedule to include updated regional health district and any statutory based fees that's necessary.
Second on that?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions for council? Hearing none, I'll take a vote on the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
The next item on the agenda is a application to get one for the brownfield grant. I'd like to table this one. Okay. Once the agenda is done, the ECD has some new we need to incorporate in that. Okay. Proposal, so we'll bring it back next meeting. All right. Thank you. Agenda item number 5. This is a good thing. We just have to advance the money and state to pay back. Has to do with the removal of PFAS. Would you like to come up, Mr. Simons? Sure. But this is a mechanism for us to get it done, so we get reimbursed. But that's a good thing. Right, next door south. Don't? No, it's all right, you're sharing that. We'll just share it, we can share it. I don't know what I want. Okay, yes, sir, how we doing? Good, you? Good, good. That's okay.
So this is phase 2 of to remove PFAS from the fire service. Phase 1, they removed our 5-gallon pails, collected those and disposed of those properly. And phase 2, now they're going after the foam that is stored in the fire trucks. So currently we have 5 fire trucks that have PFAS foam. We did follow DEP regulations to cap and plug those tanks so that's no longer be used. Now the State Fire Administration and the DEP has come up with a way to remove that tank, or remove that product tanks, sterilize or clean, decontaminate those tanks so that they can be used. The product that comes out of there will be then disposed of properly, which is great for the community, great for the fire service. So we would be looking to remove about 200 gallons of PFAS foam. And we are going to use seed money from the fire truck vehicle reserve account. And then the state going to reimburse us and pay for the
So when you take that out of the tanks, what, so there's a substitute now?
There is a substitute now, although we probably will not be refilling those tanks. We won't refill those tanks because some of those trucks are now being replaced.
Okay.
So we're now using, back to the old way of 5-gallon pails of environmentally safe.
Okay, when the new trucks come, are there tanks in there?
There are not tanks. They'll be staying with the 5-gallon.
Oh, yeah, how come, like what, why? Seems like it's inefficient with
Easier,
the,
yeah, it's easier.
easy with the pails, seems inefficient with the pails, but,
When you open the pail, put it into the tank,
yeah.
you then let air get to the top of that. What it does is it gels that foam up over a period of time. Where we left the foam in pails, they're sealed and they have longer shelf life. That's one. Number 2, it's easier to move.
Oh, it is.
So that we can bring in a lot of foam into one area instead of having just the tank load of foam that's on that truck either. Can't transfer from tank to tank. So we would have to disconnect truck off the side, bring it in that truck. This way we can maneuver it a little bit. It actually, sometimes the old ways are more efficient.
Yes, sometimes.
A little more clumsy to carry them around, but
Right.
more efficient in operations.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking, you gotta carry pails around, but it seems like it's easier to get to where you needed to get to. Okay, that's interesting. All right, I think we're good, right? No other questions? Go ahead and take a motion.
Move to approve the waiver of the town's purchasing requirements for environmental services incorporated. To mitigate firefighting foam for an amount not to exceed $30,000. This is in the best interest of the town. All funds will be reimbursed by the state of Connecticut.
All right, thank you. Second.
I'll second that.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, Jim. See you, Jim. See you soon. Next meeting, I'm sure you'll be here, right?
I'll be there.
All right, we know that. We know, it's not a meeting without you, so.
Alright. So item number 6 is the transfer of funds to consulting services. Has to do with, with planning and zoning. So I'll let Maureen explain. Maureen.
Good evening,
How
everybody.
are we doing?
We're at home, how are you?
Good.
First, I want to say the planning and zoning department is thrilled that we now have a full staff. And
That's right.
it's exciting.
Yes.
So this item. As I think most of you are aware, the Planning and Zoning Commission denied the application of the redevelop the motel and the 76 Berlin Pike, also known as Little House Living near Valley Lane, multifamily development. The applicant then appealed that to the court. The applicant then filed an application for an affordable housing development pursuant to 830G, Connecticut Senate statute regarding affordable housing plan. And the P and Z requested, along with that, as well as with another affordable housing plan we received pretty much simultaneously, that we get a consultant planner to review the proposals, all at the expense of the applicant. While the 830G applications were pending before the commission, the applicant began working with the commission to settle the litigation that they appealed to the court, the denied application, for the same parcel. And during that litigation negotiations, the work of the planning consultant, Glenn Shalter, Planometrics, evolved into work related to the settlement agreement. And ultimately a settlement plan that the Planning and Zoning Commission has approved, and now we're waiting for the court to move forward with. But his work included critical analysis, recommendations to resolve concerns of the plan and concerns faced throughout the process, additional P and Z meetings, executive sessions, and with myself, with the town attorney's team, Attorney Pola, and recommendations also for a standard affordability housing plan. And that's the affordability document that any affordable housing plan or any affordable housing development would have, so that we can then manage the affordable units that are involved. So, the town then incurred the charges for this work by the consulting planner, Planometrics. And with the department vacancies that we had this past fall, there are unencumbered funds available from the department clerical personnel account. And those are available to transfer for payment of the services of Planometrics. And therefore, I'm asking you to approve this item. The consultant planner can be compensated.
Sure, but I take it with the settlement there, the residents were
At least one
happy.
resident or spoke that they were pleased with the plan.
Oh, good.
And that I think it was what they expected and no overtly negative reactions to
That's
it.
nice to hear. I know.
Public meeting on it. And just-
Good. They were very long road. That's,
I know some of you are at those meetings.
yes, so we had a lot of those. Some of us were at those. Yeah, they were very long road, but that's good. I'm glad they're accepting of it, and we got it done. We settled it.
Only a couple more to go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, let's not worry about this. Get the new finished. Yeah, they're done. Okay, so that's good. Any questions for Maureen? Having none, we'll take a motion.
Move to approve a transfer of $16,200 from the Development Services Clerical Personnel account to the Development Services Contractual Service account, both in the general fund, pending approval by the Board of Finance.
Second on that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Hearing no other comments or questions, I'll vote on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed?
I meant I,
Oh,
not opposed.
Delayed
no opposed, all right, so motion carried. Yes, second motion, yes.
Move to waive the town's purchasing guidelines and authorize the town manager to hire Planometrics for consulting work in support of the settlement plan of Little House Living LLC. This is in the best interest of the town.
Second on that? Um. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so moved.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Maureen.
Thank
Thank you for all the hard work. I know there's more to come, but at least this is hopefully resolved. That's good.
Thank you. Agenda item number 7, relates to the tax sale. There was some questions that went to Tom Thorne. We'll come back to the tax sale to the Mark Bureau and the responses I had. Say anything, Jack?
Yeah, I think the questions that were transmitted to Attorney Cohen were pretty straightforward, and I think the answers are likewise pretty clear. So I don't know if there's additional discussion on this or what the council's pleasure is.
I'm a bit confused with the answer. Attorney Cohen responded that he advertised the town tax sale auction in the local newspaper. And if you read the emails back and forth, he negotiated this deal with the town and they decided to have an auction on the 23rd. And he held the secret auction in Bridgeport on the 31st. I don't know how he ever got that notice in the newspaper within 7 days. But if he did, I'd love to know what newspaper it was.
My understanding is that it was not the town's tax sale, it was fire district's tax sale, so the publication of the notice would have been by the district.
Perhaps the district advertised their tax sale. But he refused to accept bids from any other party except one. And he said, that's because now we're having the town tax sale. So he also held a tax sale on the same day in the same location. For the town.
I don't have any of that information in his answers. So I'm not sure where you put that coming from.
I was gonna say, when I first remember a tax sale the same day at the same time.
Yes. It was the same day, same time. Separate tax sale.
But who said there was? But I just don't know.
I was there.
Charlie was there.
I bid on it.
Well, these are the questions that I was given, these are the answers to those questions.
So, well, he said though, in his answers, he received direction from the revenue collector to hold the sale.
Well, the question was, who from the town of Berlin authorizes tax sale auctions? That was the question.
Right.
And his answer was, I take direction from the tax collector. Please note that the Pandolfi tax sale was not conducted by the town, but rather by the Kensington Fire District.
But that's not true. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying, I'm trying to understand this thing. I was told by our tax revenue collector that if I wanted to know anything about this, I should FOI. So I did. And this is what they sent me. Could you send this down, please? This is the answer to my FOI request. And unfortunately, I'm not computer literate enough to decipher that. I had to get some help to print some of these answers. I didn't receive the nice email for council before it. They tried to bury this from the get-go. I don't know if we can combine the next item with this. I don't know. It works with the other.
Yeah, it's all basically the same item.
And
I mean, we have the questions were answered, so that was item number 7, right? And so 8, we're on discussion.
I
Yeah,
have a question on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Two things when I was just reading through the answers.
Yeah.
So I do see where he says, I take direction from the tax collector. One, the question I have, is that the correct process? Is that what we have in place? Is that how it's supposed to work?
Absolutely.
Okay. Perfect.
but that's my confusion. If he takes directions from the tax collector, how is it not a town auction? What would the tax collector have to do with Kensington Fire District?
But the question was not
specific to this one?
Yeah, and the question was, who from the town of Berlin authorizes tax sale auctions?
Okay, thank you.
He gets hired by, he doesn't get hired by me, he gets hired by the tax collector, so he takes direction from the tax collector. That's the way it works, because the tax collector has the statutory jurisdiction to decide when to conduct tax sale, or when to send an account to collection, or when to commence a judicial foreclosure. So I don't have any issue with the fact that he takes direction from the tax collector.
So I don't have an issue with that either, I'm not arguing that point, I'm just saying. Was the tax sale, to set, perhaps I didn't phrase correction. The question properly. If there was a town tax sale, it was never advertised. And I'm just, between the two items, I'm trying to figure out how we got there. And if you read the email in both of these items, there was a negotiation between the town manager, revenue collector, and gentleman, Mr. O'Mahony. And Attorney Cohen was involved because he answers the town and says, yes, he agreed to pay that much. And our staff agreed to reduce the debt by half. I don't know how they thought that was in the best interest of the town, for Mr. O'Mahony. And when, the day before the auction, when I asked if there was any deal made, I would assume that'd be public information. And I approached the revenue collector and she told me if I wanted to know anything about FOI. I approached the town manager, he told me he had no knowledge of it, that he knew nothing about this. And the emails went back and forth prior to the auction, so I don't know how he couldn't have known what was going on. I don't know why the revenue collector wouldn't want to tell the public what was going on. I would think anything we do in this town hall should be open and above board. Our ethics code is very clear, you should not give anyone an unfair advantage. And I would think that setting a price in advance with one bidder would definitely be giving that person an advantage.
Could I have some clarifying questions? I'm a little,
Please,
I'm just a little confused. So, my understanding from what I read is that this was not a town of Berlin tax sale. This was a Kensington Fire District.
That's how it began.
Correct?
Yes, correct.
But there were taxes owed to the town of Berlin that were astronomical, $100,000, correct?
Correct.
So in that instance, is the revenue collector acting as a foreclosing lien holder? They're not, right? They're like a junior lien holder, correct? Which they are within their purview to negotiate that debt with the potential purchaser.
Without any notice to other members of the public.
Yes.
Our economic developer came in to this council chamber and said, we're gonna put this property out for an FRP. They owe taxes, we're gonna get this back on the tax roll, we're gonna get this developed. Great. Town of Berlin never owned it. Family owned it, owed taxes on it. And there were 3 businessmen in town who wanted to purchase that land, and our economic commission said, do not approach the owner. It's gonna be an FRP. We've used town funds, or tax funds, not town funds, but public funds, to have an environmental study done. And that's gonna be released at the same time to everybody that's interested. And then we'll take ideas from people, what they wanna do and how they're gonna pay for this. Seemed logical. And for a year and a half. And unfortunately, I was one of those people. And 2 other contractors in town said, great, we'll wait and we'll work together and we'll do this. 24 hours before this secret auction, Mr. Edge called me and said, there's gonna be an auction for this property in Bridgeport at 1 o'clock tomorrow, if you're interested. I said, what happened to that FRP? I don't know. That's when I approached our revenue collector and said, has there been an arrangement made? What's going on? That's none of your business. Town manager said he had no knowledge of what happened. I go to the auction, I'm quite confused what's going on. I bid on the fire district auction. And there was somebody on the phone bidding. I don't know who that person was. They said it was Mr. O'Mahony, but no one ever appeared. He bid $11,000, what was owed to the fire district. I bid $15,000. Attorney Cohen would not accept that bid. He said, fire district's been satisfied, Mr. O'Mahony wins that bid. Now we're gonna move on to the town of Berlin's auction. And me being a novice at it, and an engineer, not an attorney, said, how can we have another auction? It's not noticed, it's not, I didn't come prepared for that. Well, we're having it, you want to bid or not? And when it went up to a certain amount, I backed up because I don't trust this, there's something wrong with this. And I walked away and the other person wanted to bid. The other people that were in town interested in this thing were denied any knowledge of it. And it was held on 24 hours notice in Bridgeport, in an attorney's office. Most unusual. And if you read the email, there's negotiations between these three folks. Attorney Cohen, a revenue collector, and town manager. Town manager asked Christie on an email to set up a conference call to discuss this.
So what are we trying to accomplish here?
I think the council should end our relationship with Attorney Cohen and not use this procedure anymore. No one's been damaged. The people that owned the property redeemed it. They paid the full amount owed the town. The town didn't lose $50,000 like our staff tried to lose. So no one's been damaged. But I was on the council when we adopted this, and I said, this is right to be abused. That was 10 years ago.
I mean,
And unfortunately, I think it's been abused, and we should cease handling the tax delinquencies like this. We should get rid of this.
I mean, tax foreclosures are problematic, tax, especially these kind, where they're done administratively, they're problematic for lots of reasons. I don't particularly think they're terrific either. So maybe it would be, you know, what would the difference in cost be for doing judicial tax foreclosures? Is that what you're envisioning?
Cost is unfortunate. If it's more, I don't know.
Me either. I'm just saying
What?
that there. Is that what you're proposing, that we should go to
But this is a
judicial?
this is exactly the example I was afraid of the system being abused. This person was given an advantage by our staff, to go in here and bid on this thing without knowledge of other viable buyers. And I think that's wrong. We need to not let this happen again. It's my whole point of dragging this out. This is history. This is what happened in this situation. And I'd like to end our relationship with Attorney Cohen because he certainly didn't have that.
So how would we even go about that if that were to be? What is the protocol for that?
So if you want to consider changing from the tax sale to the judicial foreclosure process, the first thing would be to find out, you know, how many accounts in a typical year are placed for foreclosure. You know, in the judicial foreclosure process, all of the fees and costs that are incurred by the town are recovered by the town via supplemental judgment after the foreclosure sale. Because the town has a first priority lien by statute, and almost 100% of the time, you're gonna have a foreclosure by sale, not a strict foreclosure. So you're gonna have an auction at the site. And, you know, more often than not, the property is gonna sell for significantly higher than the tax debt. And you're gonna get paid your taxes, your interest, your fees, and your costs. I just don't have a handle, because my office has never handled the tax foreclosures for the town, what the annual volume is. So that'd be the first question for Deb Swan is, you know, what's the annual volume in terms of the number of accounts?
Maybe it's worth exploring.
Just the tax sales that the town has conducted, 9 out of the 10 times, they've started doing this, revenue collector and she came in the day before people come and settle it.
Oh,
Day before.
owners of the land.
So
If it's not a secret.
town, I'm talking about the town of Berlin tax sales, okay?
Okay.
I don't want to mess up the game. I'm going to go through this report after I'm done with this section.
Not the Kensington Fire District, is
Right.
it? Yeah, different, yeah.
And remind, if you look at the tax collection rate, is 99.5 or 6%. After she came, it has gone up. So she's doing an excellent job collecting the revenue. All of us are paying less taxes because of her. So the tax sale process, we're not doing tax liens. The tax sales have been successful. And we ought to really discuss this, and I know the Kensington thing is a little bit confusing. I'm trying to figure out what actually happened. We'll talk later. But the tax sales are don't throw maybe out with the backwater.
Yeah, the only thing that seems confusing to me is you got a Kensington Fire District tax sale. In that notice, I don't have it in front of me, I couldn't find it in my paperwork, maybe it's in here, but it does, it just says that, yeah, that's their tax sale, I get they did it, is that the notice?
No, they can change with another email, so I want to distribute.
But it didn't, all right, well, we'll see what it says, but it didn't say,
On
it
the
just,
second page.
it just say there might, Charlie, that's it. It just said there might be other liens that the, right, that the town will, yeah, okay, yeah. New fire district, blah, blah, blah. There was another notice that this does not seem to be the, oh my gosh, a real thing, blah, blah, blah. So
This is
there was some, there's another notice that I had, I'll find it, but it said that, you know, obviously this is the Kensington Fire one, but it did say, I thought somewhere that there may be other taxes owed to the town. Does it say that in some, that doesn't say that here, right? I don't, I'm not-
This is the one that was forwarded to me from the 23rd of January.
Yeah. So. Even worse, so this is even worse than the one I read, and I don't know where that other one came from, but I'll hopefully I can find it. So, to me, this is worse, that you got them, noticing, you know, Kensington Fire District, this tax sale. So. I wouldn't know about the other town taxes, I certainly, I guess Mayor Manat showed up for this one, but, and then they go right in, I guess they go right into the other tax sale. For the town, but it's nowhere on this piece of paper that the town is owed 54,000 or 110,000, whatever the actual amount was. So how would you even know that as, you know, a normal person?
It was a done deal before it started, on January
Well,
23rd.
I get that, but that's not the point. The point I'm just making is the notice to me, as an attorney as well, doesn't seem fair to anybody. I mean, you're going to the Kensington Fire District, he auctions that off in his office. You know, you go, Charlie, you happen to find out about it, and the other guy, Mahoney, but then they go roll right into the tax sale, which was noticed, what? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, he said that was, and I guess that was good enough. How would I know that the tax lien for the town was gonna be held at this sale? How would I, as a normal person, find this notice? How would you know that?
I mean,
Just common
if there,
sense.
I mean, if there was a tax sale by the town of Berlin simultaneously, they'd have their own notice.
There was none.
And it would have to, but I mean, didn't seem to me like it was a tax sale.
Yeah,
It was, you know,
Right.
negotiating for 50 cents on the dollar
Right.
for a junior lien holder, which is different. It's just, it's not the same thing.
That's the only issue I have with the process is
yeah,
the,
absolutely.
my recommendation. The one recommendation I will make is that in the future, if the town is going to discount any tax that it comes to the council for. That's the only recommendation I would make on it.
So just to be clear, that's the interest that we made. So I did ask her about when we have these tax sales here in this chamber.
Yeah.
What happens? We start the taxes and the interest.
Right.
And sometimes the bids come in lower than that.
Well, sure.
At that time, they decide, they meaning the revenue collector gives the authority to accept it. Now, if you're gonna come up with a different model that the council has to approve, you gotta think about how that's gonna work in a live auction.
Yeah, but so, and that's another part, but we're still not past where I wouldn't know. There's no notice for the tax out for the town on this day.
But there's something.
Yeah, what would I know? How would I know?
We are all talking about what Al Cohen did. Why don't we have him here, Zoom or some other way? Ask him
Yeah.
all the questions.
I would love to ask him
Simple as
questions.
that.
Sounds like a.
I'd like to hear, I really would like to hear, because there's conversations in the email between.
Yeah.
If I can quote Debbie, he accepted, I should be able to hold the auction by January 31st. The next email, found the guy, where are you gonna hold it? In my office. It'll literally be me just standing there announcing that he's won the bid. You know, these are emails a week before the auction. I'd like to have them both there, but.
Yeah, I agree. I got questions on that, how he just switches from one to the other one where there's nothing even on this page about anything for the town. And maybe that's in the statute, maybe that's the way you could do it, but that doesn't sound like a fair way to anybody, on any.
Is it within the town staff to agree to accept the lower amount before the auction? Is that how it's done?
My opinion is no.
Oh, there's another question.
Well,
So let's get
one
the
says
summary.
otherwise, so.
Who says that?
One says otherwise.
Huh?
He says,
Yeah,
Okay, so have it here, because
yeah, we should.
I want
I
to
agree.
make sure that all of you understand that the revenue collector follows the advice of the Adam Corn,
Yes.
who's doing the tax sale. So
Shouldn't the revenue
There's something-
collector also adhere to our ethics policy?
there's nothing unethical here.
It says you should not give anyone unfair advantage in a deal.
It's a public auction.
It wasn't.
It is. It was a public
An
auction.
individual was given negotiation and approval prior to the auction. One person, and only one person was allowed to know that.
Do we have a board of ethics?
Yeah, sure.
Should you be making that
Yeah.
complaint there instead of to town council?
You should take it there. Board of ethics.
I just don't know how this is a town council issue. I understand not thinking that.
The issue is,
Not the ethics.
as a counselor, I'd like to get rid of the system completely. I'm sorry to bore you with the personal.
No, and that's, I'm not trying to, I just
Use it as
trying
an
to keep it
example of
on.
when it's wrong.
Sure, but but I agree that if we have a board of ethics, that's within their purview to examine that
Yeah, that's,
and come
that's,
to a decision.
that's not really,
Not on us.
that's not really the point we're talking about here, though. I meant, you mentioned that, but that's a whole different issue. If we're gonna keep doing it this way, we'll get Adam here. That's just
Yeah.
very
Sure.
unusual to me. There is no written notice of that town tax sale in this document. He just switches to it in a meeting with two people. That does not seem like public notice to me, but I don't remember that part in law school, but public notice is public notice. Whatever. Sorry, that's not very public, go on.
Would it be helpful, what I did the last couple of weekends, right, and try to establish all the emails that go in between all the different parties.
Yeah,
Chronologically, put it in here.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
everybody can see what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So the very first one you have is O'Mahony reaching out to Cohen, offering 8,500. It happens all the time. People come and offer something and he says no. Then it's chronological, so subject matter
Yeah.
changes, goes a little bit higher, then he still says no, 10,000, 20,000, whatever. Then at the same time, there is a email that the correspondence between Twisted and Jim Mahoney.
Yeah.
Which one's that? Page 3. You have this document, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. No, I'm looking at it. Yeah.
1 and 2 is that.
Yeah.
Page 3, Mahoney and Edge talking about that. There were 3 people who actually, well, first he said, Deb and Kevin spoke to him. He was getting some interest, somebody's trying to offer something. Now, remember, that's the job of economic development folks. Take a piece of land that's not generating any income, just like what you did with Connecticut Sand and Stone Cleaner. Try to get them to pay something, bring it, put it back on the tax roll, like these things happen all the time.
Right.
We just say, well, there are 3 other people who are interested in it. Have to get your thoughts. And then if you go to the next on what it says,
November.
there's an RFQ, November 20th, but this is all the year before, right? And they loop in Corporation Council to try and do an RFP. I think they used the first use the template of Connecticut Sand and Stone, changed it and give it to Jeff for his review. And this is to say that we were trying to go public, right? Like develop an RFP at that time.
Yeah.
This is running parallel. Regardless of what's happening with the office, economic development is trying to get an RFP out. Okay, and then the next few pages are, what the template we're working on went out, right? So that goes until page 11. And then you get to page 12. And yes, this Mahoney called Edge, he's saying probably after the outstanding tax amount, that was 54,000, right? Available, that's the amount, and then there's an email below from Mahoney to Cohen again. Now he has come up to 60,000, 85 for that, 51.5 for the town. And then, there is so Chris Edge comes to me and this happens, she will say, you know, I got this thing, I want to talk to 3-4 different people, can you help me set up a meeting? So I set up this meeting to talk about, should we, you know, take a separate, whatever this guy's offering. And then Chris has also put a nice spreadsheet in the back, I attached pros and cons of doing this, serving the parcel now, why should we do it versus go through a, you know, public auction.
Yeah,
At that meeting, Debbie Swan said, no, we should go through a tax sale here. Set it to the highest bidder, get as much as we can, right? That was her deal. And then I think the amount that they owed at that time was 54,000, and that's the amount starting point she gave to Adam Cohen. That's on January 12th. Okay, she says 54,000, that's the amount. And then, I'm sorry, you had a question?
I do. So you said that, Juan said we should take the highest bidder, let's move forward. Like, how does everybody else know that this is happening, other than the people that are
Yeah.
already involved?
Because we are counting on to go to a public auction. When you say public auction, then there's a process that he goes through to advertise and do whatever he does. That's out of our hand.
If this was gonna be public, and you had all these negotiations, and you knew that the revenue collector said the town should settle for half, 54,000, they owed over 100,000. The 54 was only the cap property.
That's correct, yeah.
As a member of the public, why couldn't you tell me, why did you deny there was any negotiation going on? That's a lot of my confusion.
Who said that?
I went to you after I spoke to Debbie.
I'm coming to that, I'm coming, okay, hold it.
Can I ask a question just within the timeline here?
Yeah, sure.
So I see where Chris did the pros and cons
Yeah.
for doing the RFP. Then I see the email from him say, hey, had a meeting on it, town's gonna count it with 54,000. Where within there was the decision made not to go with the RFQ or RFP versus?
Because Kensington was getting ready to do an auction, right?
So then we wouldn't, so the
It
town
would have
would,
been an auction anyway, what Debbie is telling is if you go through a sale, tax sale, a public auction, that's the number that we want to start with. Amount of taxes that is owed to us.
so the only reason we wouldn't have done the RFP is because Kensington Fire District was involved?
Yes, we haven't still decided not to do the RFP, we are doing the RFP, these two things are running parallel.
Okay, that's what I was trying to understand.
Debbie's doing that conversation with Adam Cohen, Chris and myself and,
Okay, so it's going on simultaneous, okay.
fast forward, January 12th, January 20th, going to Swan saying he accepted it. I don't know what that means. He accepted the amount that we gave. And then he asked about the auction where you holding it on the 31st. That happens on the 23rd.
so what, just wait, he accepted the amount, so like, if that would say to me that you just made a deal with the guy. So where's the auction gonna be? He accepted this amount, isn't it a public auction?
That's what we were told. It's an auction.
Okay, so he can't accept anything, no one can accept anything, it's gotta go to public auction, right?
It's an auction. So
The terminology in the emails is pretty
I
confusing.
get it. Why he said he accepted, I don't know.
Why would he be able to accept when
Right.
you go into a public auction?
But what is it, January 23rd, page 16.
Yeah.
So Debbie writes to Adam Cohen, saying, so I have sent the auction information to my town manager, you want to ensure it's made public.
Okay, so there's the public, yeah.
There's no, this idea of secret pollution, trying to do it behind the scenes, I'm asking.
I came as a member of the public
Yeah.
with 12 hours notice of this auction in
I'm
another
getting there,
town.
Charlie, I'm getting there.
And you denied any knowledge of it. My
No, that's not true, I'm getting to it, hold on. I'll get into it. If you look at that, then after that, this is still on January 23rd. The one that I just forwarded to you. With the tax notice,
The tech from it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
read the email there.
or the email?
And that's on the 23rd. I'm telling Lindsay Porter, thanks for
Chris,
your
distributed to
distributing
interested
this
parties.
party, because he said there are 3 people. Now,
What's the time on an email?
That is Monday, January
Yeah,
24, 11/22.
so I received this at 9:52 in the morning. 11:22, I tell Chris, I told Chris, so if you read Chris's email to you and the other 3, he profoundly apologizes. He said, I got this on the 23rd. I thought I had time to do it. I didn't realize it was on the 31st. He forgot to send it out for a whole week. 23rd, he sent it out on the 30th.
I just,
Chris,
Chris,
Yeah, Chris Edge. Right, that's the email that's here. Email from Chris Edge to all interested parties, January 30th, 2023. If you read that, he's giving the link, all the information tomorrow, Tuesday, January 31st, 2023, 1 p.m. in Bridgeport. And then, I was informed that there's a party interested and have been speaking with tax collector. I received this, he asked, he said, received this on the 23rd January last week, but for some reason did not make the connection. Right,
day before the auction. Yeah,
so
he
he
sent that out.
So then, there's another email from Adam confirming with Debbie. So then that's when Charlie showed up that afternoon in the revenue collector's office. And he did say, I showed up there and Debbie said, none of your business. Okay?
Yeah.
So I asked her, I said, Debbie, I mean, all of you have worked with Debbie. She's probably the most kindest and the sweetest person that you're gonna deal with.
He probably likes puppies too, but I know.
But there are 3 witnesses here, Charlie. This is exactly what happened. I asked her to put it in writing because you're incriminating someone, saying they said none of your business, versus what happened there.
He told me it was not public information, it was not my business. If I needed to know anything, I could FOI it. And I did, and I got a pile of gibberish from your IT guy. You tried to bury this thing from the day one, and the whole thing, I'm sorry.
That's not true, because January, she did say she was not sure whether she could give it to you. I don't know why. I checked with Adam. She had a line of people out there paying taxes, January 30th, last day of the month, one day before. And then she did get back to you, right?
so she wasn't sure that this was public information?
That's what she said, because Adam was handling
Referred him
it.
to myself, being Debbie Swan,
Yeah,
the revenue collector,
Yeah.
and she didn't know whether or not this was public information.
because Adam was handling it through the Kensington Fire
It
District.
seems like Adam might be a problem. I mean,
Yes,
I
we
gotta
totally,
tell you
yeah,
Ask him, I mean,
I think we should ask him.
yeah.
I mean, it's a negotiation, right? So I mean, I would have a similar question, and what it seems like to me is that there was no town of Berlin tax sale. This is a Kensington Fire District tax sale. So if I was Debbie, I would wanna talk to my attorney to say, like, am I even allowed to disseminate this, not wanting to make a mistake?
She knew there was gonna be a tax auction. If you read January 23rd, it was on page 15.
But she's not a Kensington Fire District tax collector, she's a town of Berlin tax collector.
Sure.
But Debbie Swan is saying, where's the auction gonna be held? And he responds, and Attorney Cohen responds, in my office, I will literally just be standing there and announcing that his bid is accepted.
What's the date of that?
January 23rd.
23rd.
So is that before anybody even knew that there were 3 other interested parties?
No, Mr. Ed notified them, don't do this, it's a look like a backdoor deal.
No.
He sent email.
No, that's not true. I can say that.
Again, I'm
We did a spreadsheet pros and cons and actually,
That was on January 9th.
yeah, a long time ago.
That's before.
Yeah, and I asked Chris Edge, he said he never said something like that.
Well, the bottom line is though, they knew there were other people interested before, and then I guess just the whole thing they're saying, when's the tax sale? So she knows it's not a town tax sale. Yet he says, oh yeah, it'll be in my office, I'll announce the bid. How is
the
that?
Kensington Fire District
Yeah.
tax sale was there.
Well, yeah, but I mean, who knows about the town one, but Mr. O'Mahony at this point? Nobody.
But there wasn't a town one.
Exactly, that's my point, but there was one on the first, they had.
There was the Kensington Fire District tax sale on Thursday.
Yeah, but this one went through on the 31st.
But it wasn't a town of Berlin tax collector.
They accepted his bid of $70,000 for the town of Berlin. If there was no auction, how did they accept his bid?
Because it wasn't, because they're junior lien holder. So either the person bids and you're right, so you were negotiating, right, you were bidding against someone on the phone?
Yes.
Or the Kensington Fire District tax foreclosure.
Oh,
Correct.
Whoever bids the highest in
Tony
there,
Cohen, when you got my bid, he said, because now we're gonna move it over to the town of Berlin.
and then you have to pay $100,000 in taxes unless you negotiate them separately with the town to reduce the amount that's owed there.
He
That's
accepted,
not a tax foreclosure.
he accepted a bid for the town of Berlin.
He
were bidding on
accepted a reduction. It sounds to me like the revenue collector through Attorney Cohen or whatever, they didn't have a tax sale. They negotiated the reduction of the debt owed to the town, and that is different. That is what I'm saying. I do not think that a secondary tax foreclosure sale was held on that day. There was a negotiation about accepting less money for a debt owed to the town, and that's different. It just is.
So I was
Like
bidding,
it, don't like it, that's fine.
I was bidding, but it wasn't a bid, it was a
You
negotiation.
were bidding in the Kensington Fire District sale
Oh,
and he
I-
outbid you,
No, he didn't.
but he did.
He did not bid me on the Kensington Fire District. Attorney Cohen said, we're awarding it to Mr. O'Mahony. When I bid $15,000, I bid $5,000 more than Mr. O'Mahony for Kensington. He would not accept that. He said, no, we're gonna close it because that's more money than you're owed. We're closing it, Mr. O'Mahony gets that. Now we're gonna move on.
You have with
Now we're
Attorney
gonna move on to an auction for the town of
Cohen. That's a
Berlin.
personal issue that you have with Attorney Cohen. Then,
My issue is, there was an auction held for the taxes owed with no notice to anyone.
I don't think that there was. I disagree with your assessment of the situation.
Well, the problem is, I agree, definitely there's the problem with Attorney Cohen. I don't see how you could read all this and not read into that he just did what he wanted. He's standing in his office doing whatever he wants to do, and, we have to talk to him. He was there.
So January 30th, you called the revenue collector, then you came to see me, right?
Right.
And you claimed that I said I had no knowledge of it. Why? Two occasions I say, it should be public, one to Debbie, one to stage percent is Mr. Public, right? I have no idea why I did say I have no idea, don't know what's going on. I probably said, I found out the same time others did. January 23rd, there's gonna be a tax sale. Maybe you asked something about the tax sale. I had no knowledge of the tax sale is conducted. That's out of my hands. But to say, humor me, why would I say something like that? I had no knowledge of that. What am I gonna gain by that?
I have no idea what they mean.
No, I want you to think through that stuff because you're accusing me of making a statement that I didn't.
I went to you after speaking with Debbie Swan, and she told me to FOI if I didn't like it, which I did later on, because I only had 12 hours to get to the auction. I was trying to get all the information I could. I went to you and said, there should be public information. Do you have any knowledge of a negotiation about these taxes? Because I'm gonna go to this tax sale tomorrow. And you said, I don't know anything about
Your word is mine. Right? So when you came in, you also made a statement. You said you were angry.
it. Well, I was very upset.
You were fuming. You said, I forget the exact, something like the Berlin boy, the Berlin guy, all the.
You go
all that
backdoor
thing,
deal.
Backdoor deal, all the stuff, right? Trust me, I'm not a Berlin boy, any of those, both involved, that's not.
And that's one reason why we have a town manager, that's separate from the local power.
And then you had also mentioned at that meeting, when I see that you've been asking for some environmental reports from First Aid for
A year,
2 years or 1
a
year.
long time, man.
You don't have it. So I called Chris immediately. I think you probably, before you got to the parking lot, you had those reports.
We finally released it.
Send it to you.
But if you read Mr. O'Mahony's statements, he had knowledge of that report 2 weeks before that, because he said, I understand the environmental issues with the property.
So,
I just want everybody on a level playing field and out in public. This should be a glass house. Anything we should do here.
I'm just going over the stuff that what happened. You can decide who did what or whether we need to change things. And then at the end of the day, I actually sent a note to the whole group saying, he spoke to Charlie and the mayor as well, all good, smiley face. Little did I know it's not turning to witch hunt. So then you move to January 31st, Cohen says, maybe one other bidder showed up today, the email in the sun, I put the original bidder on the phone, so they bid against each other. Original bidder won, and I'm pleased to report, agreed to start planning subject before.
So the original bidder won at the auction that didn't happen. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm sorry, ask the question again.
So the original bidder won. How can he win if there was no action, no auction?
There was a Kensington Fire District tax sale that looked like it was appropriately noticed. There was not a Town of Berlin tax sale, so he won. the
One bidder
Kensington
showed up
Fire District
today,
tax
the
sale.
deputy mayor and his son, I put the original bidder on the phone, like bidding into, original bidder won, I'm pleased to report he agreed to pay the town $60,500 instead of the original $54,000. So he won the bid at an auction that didn't happen.
He won the bid at the Kensington Fire District tax auction.
Why does it say the town? Okay. I have a quick question, Jeff. Do you represent some of your other communities like this, Mr. This attorney Cohen?
I do a significant volume of judicial tax foreclosures for towns that we're town attorney for and the city of New Haven.
So that's different.
Judicial tax foreclosure.
Or different from the
other.
So
I am familiar with the tax sale statute and the assignment of tax liens, the sale of tax liens, bulk and individual, alias tax warrants. So I understand the different, I gave you an overview a couple meetings ago of the tax sale process. It is very different than a judicial foreclosure. A lot of the questions that are being asked tonight, including the mayor's questions about how a bidder would know certain things. That again is the difference between a judicial tax foreclosure where a lawyer appointed by the court is referred to as a committee reads a notice to bidders at the sale and executes a deed that is subject to court approval and closing and transfer title to the property, unlike a tax sale where there's a 6-month redemption period. There is no committee, there is no real notice that's read that puts an increased importance upon bidders doing their own due diligence prior to bidding at a tax sale. And, you know, when I do tax foreclosures, I get calls from bidders, especially on the New Haven tax foreclosures, asking about other taxes that may be owed, asking about WPCA or water liens and things like that. So people, you know, they need to do their own due diligence. But, you know, like I said, the only thing about this process that I would recommend taking a look at is the idea of negotiating. The debt is principal and interest. That's the statutory debt. And in the context of the sale of a lien, the municipality through its legislative body has jurisdiction by statute to negotiate whatever that amount is going to be. In the context of a judicial tax foreclosure or a tax sale, the municipality should be seeking a bid of at least the taxes plus principal and interest. I'm sorry, taxes, principal and interest. Many times you see a bid for more than that based on the value of the property. Again, a difference between a judicial tax foreclosure and a tax sale is in a judicial tax foreclosure, there's at least 2 appraisals that are of public record that you can access on judicial database, one by the foreclosing plaintiff, one by the committee. In a tax sale, there's no appraisal. So you could be bidding more than the property's worth, you could be bidding significantly less than what the property's worth. But that, again, it's a different animal. As I talked about last time, there's always been due process concerns and other concerns about the tax sale. It is a very effective mechanism to collect taxes, as the town manager outlined. The tax collector's been very successful utilizing it to collect taxes. You know, my feeling about the process in terms of why the town council as a legislative body should be the one to authorize any discount. I don't know if Attorney Cohen thought that that's what occurred. You know, he made a comment in his answer to one of the questions that he takes his direction from the tax collector. He doesn't know who else the tax collector confers with. So he may have thought when she authorized $54,000 as a minimum bid, that she had, you know, gotten that authorization from the town council. The reason why, if you look at the legislative history behind tax statutes, the whole idea that the legislature had by not letting tax collectors discount tax debts was take away not only the possibility of corruption by doing favors for friends and family, but also take away the pressure that the tax collector would feel when person after person would come in with a story about, I'm underemployed, I'm unemployed, I have a medical condition, whatever. There's so many different reasons why people can't, I mean, I get the calls, you know, because of all the foreclosure complaints I sign, I get the calls, and I have no discretion, zero discretion. I can't even do payment plans. Okay, so that's the only improvement to the process that I would recommend further discussion on. Would be that one.
So just so that everyone understands, after the last meeting, has to be the follow-up with Cohen. And Cohen says, no, stupid, you have the right of the council, so. He's not here, so we probably ought to talk to him, because they've been working under that, and we said, yeah, Cohen says I have the authority to do it, and he's put it in writing, so.
Maybe we could just ask him to answer that question, why he thinks that.
Well, he did, he cited two
Extended
statutes that did not say that.
Just so that's 157. So okay. Yeah, a couple of more pages, can we just go through this
We can go through it.
very quickly?
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think Adam Cohen maybe should not be working for the town anymore, from what I gather, just tonight, what I've heard is
I'll
enough.
give him an opportunity.
To explain it? Yeah, sure. All right, well,
Page 21, again, this is week later, Chris does what he does, reaches out to this gentleman O'Mahony and says, hey, you know, you got the property, what do you want to do with it? Then he says, well, you know, as much as I got it, just takes like 6 months from the due date. These people are, you know, to come in.
yeah,
Page 21.
21, yes, okay. Yeah.
So, and then, that's the end of that. Then on, March 27th, Mr. Pennis, sends a FOIA request to, Jeff, myself, Brian Freeman, who's the IT director, Kevin Delaney, finance director, Presage, Mahoney. And then, that's at 9:29 and 11:55, I acknowledge him, say that I received it on the 28th. And then we'll get it to you as quickly as possible. 29th, I send an email to everyone saying Brian ran a keyword search on what he asked for, and he's completed the FOIA request. And then March 29, I also asked Debbie if there's any other paper documents. She confirmed back saying that she doesn't have anything else in paper, all is fine. Then there's a follow-up from Attorney Denafrio on April 12th, saying, hey, did you guys complete this? I respond back saying, yes, we sent everything to Charlie electronically on March 20th, 2023. So that's one. Then in your packet, remember Charlie said that there were emails going back and forth between the revenue collector and this other bidder and the town manager and the other bidder. One email back and forth. So after the email, Charlie came and dropped this off. I have it on here. Yeah, cool. Then you need the back of it. Yeah, you all take a look at it. And tell me what email or how many emails you received, one between the town manager and the other bidder, and the revenue collector and the other bidder. Put it on.
Yeah.
No, the last one is the last page, Roche, right, or the one page with your, from you, I guess, the Jim and Chris, right, this one. So, let's see what you, right? That one from Jim. From you, the one on January 9th, the only one in here with your,
Yeah.
with you sent one,
January 9th.
that was the only, email from you. To Jim, Chris,
You set up the meeting.
yeah, no, I'm just saying, that's the only one.
Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Mahoney and O'Mahony are not related.
No, I didn't think so, I didn't think so. Yeah, no.
Important point.
It's one of
It is a big point,
right?
it's a big point.
Two different.
So, God's here, Mr. Coogan, how many emails do you see between the town manager and the?
I only saw one.
Which one?
The one that you, came to you,
No.
oh,
Where is it?
Oh, to you and who, Roche, talking about you and,
What?
you and
oh, the
who?
revenue collector, yeah. Okay, and the bill.
No, I don't see anything from you,
Which one?
so you're talking about the one, I'm looking at one from you to, Mahoney and Delaney,
The town staff.
yes.
Is there one?
That's not the bidder.
No, I'll to the better, I'm not seeing any.
How many do you see?
I don't see any.
Exactly. Mr. Russell, how many emails do you see?
Just that one.
Again, between the other bidder and me.
Objection, leading question.
Other bidder and me and the other bidder and the revenue collector, how many emails do you see?
I don't have it. I don't,
Come on, Peter, I gave it to you.
I know.
This one there, this package here, that package.
So I'm still trying to find someone in here, and I don't know if anyone could point me to where, why we still went the auction versus the RFP.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna come back to that. Can I get an answer from you?
So what do you asking?
I apologize.
He's asking if anyone sees any
Anyone
emails
sees,
between him and the
because
bidder.
I don't see communication between you and the bidder because for one thing, I couldn't decipher what you called the response or what your staff called the response to my LOI,
But not to the bidder.
No.
That's not to the
a
bill.
lot of computer code that I understand. But I misinterpreted that you were involved in negotiations because you sent an email that said, hi, Jim and Chris. I have asked Chris to set up a conference call to discuss the property. We have been approached by an individual who is willing to pay close to the outstanding tax amount for the purchase of the property. We'd
No,
like
to
to
the bidder.
discuss. Not to the bidder,
Right.
but among the staff to discuss the bidder's offer.
But
Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
I apologize. You didn't talk to the bidder, but you set up a conference with the
Oh,
staff to discuss the offer.
Chris comes in and say he wants to talk about something.
I'm interpreting it.
Right.
You're discussing that gentleman's offer. At that meeting,
Yes.
that's what it was.
That we covered on that other one. And then
I apologize. You didn't speak directly.
where's the email between the revenue collector and the other bidder? Is there anything here?
It goes, no, but it does, there is evidence that goes through, you're communicating through Attorney Cohen, because he says, that he accepted your offer, blah, 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 it goes back, not direct.
But it's a serious allegation you're making. You know, you start this by saying, first you said, you went to the revenue collector, she said, none of your business. I'm like, well, not in so many words, right? She said, oh, maybe I'll get back to you.
I said, isn't it public information? She said, no.
Then you came to see me and you said, I have no knowledge of it. I still don't understand the life of me, why I would say I have no knowledge.
I asked you a direct question, has there been a negotiation, is there a deal made? And I said, no, I know nothing about
So
Got two more.
there's a disconnect there.
it. Big disconnect.
Then the third one, you said the economic development department warned the town staff. And everything, the pros and cons, they're there.
Right, he was giving pros and cons. In one email, he says, you're gonna upset us, I think a town councilman and a commissioner and somebody else, a fire chief.
So,
I don't have them right.
Attorney here.
yeah, fine, but I'm done. Before we get to that, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, no,
I take offense to Charlie pretty much, telling that we had some kind of a plan working secretively. When we have, all I've done from the beginning is to make things public here. And pretty much implying that we did some wrongdoing and we were directly negotiating. I, the town manager, was directly negotiating with Mahoney, which is a lie. And you said we had those emails and this is what you dropped off.
I apologize for saying you negotiated directly. The town staff was involved in negotiations with this bidder. And that's pretty obvious if you read the emails, because somebody came up with the amount of $54,000. Whether they went through Cohen or the town revenue department. I don't know who's in your staff. I don't know who was at that meeting, what you discussed at the meeting. But you knew they were making a deal and the town staff made a deal. And the day before the auction, no one in the town hall would give out that information. That's what my problem is. You can point the figure however you want.
Said that he talked to everybody, the three interested parties, and told them that.
And send an email to all three of you. I attached the email to
The
you.
day before the auction, he made no mention of the fixed price, of the price being negotiated down.
Didn't he even talk to you?
But
Did he talk to you? With David Folt? I know it was the David Folt, but he spoke to you, right?
Yeah, because I went to his office first and I said, what happened to the RFP? And he said, revenue department canceled it. I said, what's going on? He said, I don't know, they did some kind of negotiation. That's when I went to see the revenue collector, said, what's the deal? What's the negotiation? I'm interested, I want to bid on it. No, can't tell you what the deal is. Only that secret guy that won't even show up in person knows what the secret price is.
I'm sure nobody uses the term secret.
No one used that, but when you're standing there and you're trying to get information in a business deal that you think, this is the town of Berlin, everyone in the town should be privy to this information. And you're told someone that you don't know who it is only allowed to see that. That's
I mean,
wrong.
technically, the town doesn't even have to reduce their taxes if they're owed, so
Why
you
did
can
they?
get as much.
So that's my question.
I mean,
Why did
Why would we, when you got.
I guess that's another question that, you know,
From what I
Entirely
understand,
covered.
it's been going on for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And
trying to-
how do you-
Rick did a great job and got 3 local businesses interested in buying that property.
But nobody offered anything.
We weren't allowed to.
No, I'm talking about
Before.
before, reaching out to Chris and say, we're gonna do a deal here.
I went to Chris, I said, I want to talk to the owner project, do not contact them, this has to be an equal footing. We got this RFP going out, and he came to the council and made that announcement to all of us.
Yeah, we remember. We
do wanna say one
wanted to
thing.
do an RFP, but Kensington initiated this tax sale.
Everyone's,
On
Maybe
the
my
23rd.
situation was
So was
different because the fire district wasn't involved, but we had a property abutting ours. That was a tax sale, that was out there for many years. No one made any offers or bid out anything for it, so we decided we wanted to expand the farm. So we went and looked at it and, you know, came to the town to speak to them about it, saying, what do we need to do? We'd like to make a bid on it. You know, what are the taxes owed? Let us, you know, we'll give fair market value for the property. And we were told, no, you cannot do that. It has to go through an RFP. That's the process. So that's what had to happen. And there was no bids. Ours was the only bid. But, you know, at that point, we were told it has to go through an RFP. You can't, even though it was noticed years ago, we still have to go through that process. You can't just make an offer on the property. We can't do that. You know, that was
I remember that, yeah.
years ago, but that was.
Before you were on the council on planning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that. That's like a budding piece of property there.
I'm really sorry I'm taking up everybody's time with this personal thing I got involved in. But it's important that everything the town of Berlin does is above boards. If there's an environmental report paid for with tax dollars, that should be public information. Everybody should be able to get that when it's issued. It was withheld on this property. If there's a negotiation to lower the price of the taxes the town will accept, from now on, that should be public information, not reserved for one individual. No, this is my point on my whole distress here. Going forward, we have to make sure it's never happens again.
We should have. We should have. Ask these questions because.
Yeah, I mean, if we get this many
But
questions
to what end?
on this one.
And how much will that cost us to have him here to answer questions? You know what I mean? It's like,
There's at least something here that is not quite right, so I think we should be asking this gentleman questions.
I agree, whether you wanna work with him or not, I agree with that, but at what point? Like, what are we doing? What is the point?
Oh, maybe we won't be using him going forward. Who knows?
Is that the question that we're putting together?
Potentially.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
If this is this complicated, I wouldn't do it again.
I agree with that. So, but here's the thing though.
I gotta go do this.
Tax foreclosures, so that you can't even sell them, they're just,
In thinking
yeah.
this particular tax sale.
Yeah.
How many other issues that you have had confusion, trouble, understanding?
This is not okay.
Yeah, I'm
We
saying.
haven't seen them.
Can we just separate this with regular tax sales that go smoothly, that town does, right? It's announced, it's published, the people come in here, they paid the day before. I can't answer the Kensington.
I think it's,
If I hadn't driven to Bridgeport on 12 hours notice and tried to bid on it, we'd never know anything. How many other deals went down without us knowing? We don't know.
But are we saying that it was improperly noticed pursuant to the statute?
No.
I don't think that it was. It wasn't.
So.
Are we gonna change?
It wasn't.
the Law?
No.
Can I ask
It was.
Because I think
It was.
this is, if I can. So on a tax sale, Kensington tax sale has their tax sale. Because the town of Berlin would be first lien holder, a junior lien holder, is that why it was then brought up? Because they were, they're first in line.
Adam has to answer that. He-
I mean, is that-
I don't know.
Is that what happened?
I don't know. I don't want to speculate. I think we spent hours and hours and hours speculating about
Yeah.
stuff. Just. So that's, you know.
I mean, I
That seems the only way it's gonna get resolved is getting him in here.
Yeah.
And, you know, getting
Yeah.
the information from him. Because we're then, you know, going back and forth and beating a dead horse.
Yeah, which is
So we
great.
really need to get him in there.
no, I agree, especially if we're considering potentially not using him as an attorney.
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
think he has the right to come and answer our questions.
Absolutely.
I think we do need to potentially fix the process going forward. I can appreciate, Roche, that what you're saying as far as this is, potentially the only issue we've had with the tax sale, but we go back to what we were talking in ordinance, when we only have 3 or 4 complaints about noise, and we're looking at an ordinance for the whole town for that too. So I think if we identify an issue, we fix it going forward, even if it affected one or.
Yeah, we should clarify the policy. Should the revenue collector
An opportunity to fix it.
lower the bid before the auction? And, is that a good policy to have? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, as we heard though, Attorney Cohen sent 2 statutes to Attorney DiNapoli, and he's wrong in what he
Not to
sent.
be sent them to a road.
To a road. But you read them.
I got it.
Did we read the statutes and you said what?
Of course I will.
And, no, I know that, but I know that's you, but I'm just saying, but you read that.
But,
Yeah.
okay, he's been practicing probably about 25 years, 20.
Yeah.
25
So
years.
he's an expert, but
That's what he does,
yes.
okay? But I'm not a schmuck. I can read the statute,
We know.
okay? And I know what the statute does, and it doesn't say anything about the tax collector having unilateral, independent authority to discount anything.
Yeah.
It specifically says what it says, and it don't say that.
And that's, but and Jeff, I respect your opinion, so if he's the expert, that doesn't make me warm and fuzzy, that's my point. I mean, you're an expert too,
But what I'm saying is, you don't know,
what he is basing.
he publishes lots of materials for the tax collectors association.
Yes.
And I guarantee you, he's not telling them to discount their debt. Okay? You don't know I don't know, for example, this piece of property. I saw the RFP on it, I revised the RFP. That RFP, if I'm recalling correctly, talked about a brownfield grant. This property contaminated? Okay?
Well,
So I don't know, I mean, there could be a long history with unsuccessful tax sales. There could be low appraisal, there could be environmental contamination, there could be very good reasons why you would discount the debt, okay? My only issue is who makes that decision?
yeah, agreed.
Because there's not one town that I've ever worked for in 33 years who lets me or the tax collector unilaterally make that decision.
Good point.
Because you wanna know something? I write audit letters. Adam doesn't. Okay, I gotta write a letter to I gotta write an annual audit letter. in response to
Why we,
your outside auditor every year, okay? And if an auditor said to me, is this okay? I would tell the truth and say, no. Now, it hasn't been raised, but, you know, auditors do audits based on sampling.
so my question to that point is, have we done it before this way? I mean, that's another, in the past, is that what we do? Oh, would we know that?
I
Because
have no idea.
it's obviously a system.
Like George said, it's never, there's never been an issue.
Yeah, but maybe it never got brought to anybody's attention. It just went away because somebody bought it and nobody asked any questions about it.
Well, and the issue would never come up unless it was first a Kensington Fire District tax foreclosure and not a town of Berlin.
So you need.
You know what I mean?
You know,
So it's like,
the statute says what you do if there's too much, if the winning bid is more than a gut. Okay, the statute also says that if the winning bid is less than the debt, the municipality can buy the property for the debt. Now, if the property is contaminated, we don't want it. The town.
We already did that.
Inherited,
We did buy that
which the town did a judicial foreclosure on.
downtown, bro.
Okay?
Yeah.
That was a mess. So it may well be that the right decision is to discount the debt, because you don't want to be in a scenario where you have to own the property.
That's
It's just a
great.
question of who makes that decision.
But did we do that here? I guess that's the only question I want to know. Did we do that? Did we know that? Did we know it was contaminated? Who made the decision to want
The whole town knows it's contaminated.
Well, that's what I said, the RFP.
But where- nobody
Talked about a brownfield grant.
That's probably the night before.
Pretty in New England
Only do that
everywhere.
in the
The matter of
context
degree
of the
and what you're
fire.
doing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Mr. Edge is not qualified to read that report. That report says that property is fine as long as you don't like to wanna haul the dirt out of it. You don't have to touch that property if you're gonna use the dirt on site. The property is not negatively impacted. And,
I haven't seen the report.
you know, I had a soils engineer review it.
So is our next.
And the DEP said we don't need a transfer act on this property. So that tells me it's not.
So are we gonna invite Attorney Cohen to come to our next meeting? Is that our next step?
I think so. Is that what we're all thinking?
Yeah.
I would say so.
Speaking.
Okay, that's what we'll do. We're good. Consensus. We'll get him here. Ask a couple questions.
I don't feel bad for him right now. But not, it's in my, you know, sensitive little heart.
I'm sure he can handle it.
Yeah.
Whatever we have to. It's not that. The question for him.
We did not go out and do, RFQ
Because I think he's in the, yeah,
Before
before,
you do it.
because this, I showed you the dates in chronological order. We were, we were,
Well, also keep in mind that the RFP, it was a completely different structure. Because the RFP was asking for a proposal by somebody who was gonna buy tax liens and redevelop the property. It wasn't a bid on the tax sale, it was an RFP saying, hey, we got this piece of property and we can sell you the tax liens and you can foreclose on it, and we're gonna apply for a brownfield redevelopment grant. Tell us what your concept is for the property. I mean, I've done that in North Haven, we've had multiple properties that were contaminated, one had tires on it, abutting the Quinnipiac. One had a dilapidated building on it, another one was grossly contaminated, and, you know, we don't wanna take title to it. And we could do a foreclosure sale, and nobody could bid on it. So, you know, let's think outside the box and get somebody who can come in and get a piece of property for, you know, less than what it's worth, but has the ability to clean it up with a brownfield grant and redevelop it and put it back to productive use, and we've had a lot of success with that. So that's just a different approach, you know, but then when Kensington Fire District says, hey, we're gonna do a tax sale, then that kind of bumps it to the front of the line. And the town has to deal with that scenario, because you can't do an RFP on a piece of property that you don't have an opportunity to own.
Yeah.
How long do they have their tax, how long were their taxes due, do we know? I mean, same time, I assume?
10 years.
10 years, okay. Same time. Yeah.
They had tried having an auction 10 years before, and there was no interest. And then 10 years later, Mr. Mahoney said, I need the property in Berlin.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, so that's what we'll do. We'll get Attorney Cohen just to answer questions. Sounds like. Okay, on to appointments. So what do we have? We have pre-K for the library board?
Yeah. we have
Feed
three.
the famine, see that?
So, well, the
So-
library board,
Yeah.
they did go out and ask,
Oh.
some of their members,
And what do we
some
have?
of their,
Like pass?
like me or something, you know, whoever comes up there.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that you asked me to reach out to the two gentlemen who were not appointed at the last, meeting. So this Derek Fossey was one of the gentlemen that was not appointed to the,
Oh, for the, what, yeah, what was it, Kate?
commission on
No, that's another guy, Derek, just Derek. Yeah, what is Derek? What was he on? What was
So
he?
Derek, I think, when, there was something with social services.
Oh, yes. Was it, or was it the disability, the
It
one?
might have been disability.
We had
Yes, that's right.
Agreed for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I did reach out to him and
Okay.
he said that he would be interested in the
Library board.
library board.
Okay.
Now, the problem is that you can put him on,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Yeah.
He's a Republican, or he's unaffiliated, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
The problem is with the other two, they're
Right.
both Democrats and only one Democrat can go back on.
Okay,
So,
gotcha.
Is Betsy currently on that board?
no,
She's not.
She was on, it, right?
he was on it some time ago and then,
What about Catherine?
and Catherine is someone who's very active in the library right now, they both are. So if you want to choose which one, put it in first or which put it in last.
Well, we'll put it in
you want
first.
to do that, you do whatever.
2 days. 2 days.
The timestamp is different, so they're dated the same day, but the timestamp is different.
Yeah, one's 24th, one's the 26th.
Yeah, one's the 24th, one's the
Right, but
26th.
they still have-
But she got it in first, Catherine.
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know how else to do it. What do you guys think? I mean,
They're both excellent and.
I know. I know, that's, yeah.
And we can, it's whatever you want.
Right.
You use non-discretionary decision, you know, to be the honor.
Oh,
Yeah. Yes.
Appointments, we use who got it in first.
We did,
Yeah,
we did. So I think that's, I would say that's a fair one.
I agree.
So we'll go ahead and take nominations for the library board.
Nominate Catherine Duskett for the library board.
Thank you. Any other nominations for this position? Hearing none, close nominations. All those in favor? Opposed? Very so moved. Welcome, Catherine. Unfortunately, we can't, do another
Can't.
Democrat, correct?
Can't be another demo.
So we have another opening, we have another applicant, we'll take nominations for the second library board opening. Let's Boston. Boston.
Nominate Derek Flocky to the library board.
Thank you very much. Any other nominations for this position? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. All those in favor, Derek? Opposed, right, so move. Welcome, Derek. And now we got 2 for the board of ethics now too, right?
Now, I have reached out to Cornell
Yes.
because it can only be filled in an ROD.
I
I mean,
know.
an ROU, excuse me.
An R or a U, I
The
got.
alternate position is a Democrat. So,
Oh, I got you,
all
okay.
right, I don't know
So
the other gentleman at all.
I do, Nick Nenshi,
Nick,
Yeah,
I know,
you do?
yeah, he's,
Okay.
I belong to the Antique Automobile Club of America, and he is president of the Central Connecticut chapter.
Okay.
He lives up over by Brookmore. He's a good guy.
Well, so, but I mean, we couldn't even.
Yeah.
We can't do another, we can't.
We can't do.
you can,
We
you
could
can do
We
another.
need Nick, now we can't do.
We can't.
Right, to Cornell.
So we got one. So we got a spot open. There you
All
go.
right,
So winner.
Nick
He's
wins.
the winner. Nick wins, we got a win.
Much more pleasant experience at the end of the meeting.
We always try and do a good.
This is like joy.
We try.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I was gonna say, it's not over yet. We don't know. So we'll take nominations for the position, to nominate. Nick Nessie.
Yeah.
Nominate. You do, okay, great, that's excellent. No other nominations, we'll close the nominations, all those in favor, Nick, aye. Close, all right, so we'll welcome Nick, okay. That ends that, so where are we?
Make a, so for water control.
Yeah,
I'm very concerned, I didn't
For water
realize that water control, I
Yes.
did not realize, of course, that, Barry Fairwood had passed.
yes,
They have had issues with getting, sometimes getting enough members.
Yeah.
You have 3 vacancies on this.
yeah,
And now you have a 4th one,
okay.
and I really think that you need to start
Finding,
hitting pushes.
finding some, for that.
Yeah,
Great.
and I know that's
Social media blast, is that what you're?
Put something out in the paper.
Yeah.
We've done that, we've done it on the paper, it's on the website, it's, wherever you want to do it, but honestly, when you are talking to people,
Don't wanna be in,
want to do something, or you're out to dinner, and that you have no other conversation, bring up water control. I don't know.
They're beating door to get in.
They're,
So I got the position for you, everybody wants to be.
I think it's something that you can.
We're gonna make this the most sought after water control commission in the country, and we're gonna make sure people want to go on this. All right, we'll do that, Kate, yeah. That's the kind of big, well, other than the DNA, I guess we won't. That's, yeah, that's a whole other.
That's more when you're in the hospital and you have to nurse, they want to be on the DNA.
That's a whole different thing. Okay, we will do that. Yeah, so that brings us to the town manager's report. Which hopefully is also a joyful occasion.
It is all joy. That's what we want.
We want to end on a good note always.
Two follow-up items with the senior housing generator.
Yes,
So,
yes.
Make her happy.
well, it's good news, if you want to spend money. So there's a lot of work to be done there, in terms of the site work and concrete plan, transfer switch, there's a little coordination with the part of the transformer there that needs to get worked out with them. And multiple, supplies, in.
It's expensive.
It is expensive.
Like how much?
It could be like 50 grand. But here's what I propose.
Okay.
These are estimates we are getting from quotes from other people. We couldn't know how to figure out.
Oh, yes.
Start to
Oh,
bottom,
yeah.
full price,
Yeah.
write it out,
Yeah.
engineering, everything. And then we will come back to you.
Yeah.
And figure out how we're gonna pay for it. With a lot of money, so I want to get compensated for it.
It's explain how to do it, because that's what was supposed to do it,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So it's not, they didn't do it the same month.
It's a year later, they told you they're gonna go apply for a
And
grant,
that's what I heard from Mr. Dorothy. We can't win it.
so,
I'm sorry.
I'll get an
Time's
hour.
ticking.
Okay,
Okay.
and when the prices come in, we'll figure out how to pay for it.
Yeah.
There's a surplus, so,
Yeah.
appropriation.
Yeah.
Or see, we need to.
Oh, I know. Just taking a year.
Things I heard one day.
Yeah. Yes. And we found them the generator. This was the other part of it, which we got that fairly free from the town. But that's all right, we'll take care of it, thank you.
Still violent. The issue with,
Oh, yes.
the neighbors chopped up trees because they
Yes.
want to have a big field.
Yeah.
Yes. So, between zoning and the inland wetland, and we've got attorney Paula involved, there's definitely a violation there. So they were gonna reach out to the HOA and the homeowners both. And, ask for a restoration plan that they need to provide to the town. Because what is happening, I believe the homeowners, individual homeowners are going to talk into the homeowners association, and they're like, yeah, you can do it. No, and they're supposed, they're not.
What's the name of the road again? What was it, the end of?
I don't know.
By Silver Island?
Yeah, I don't know what the name is. So, So they also might give a notice of violation from inland wetland in addition to zoning.
Oh,
So it's good, we'll do that.
Hmm.
The other one. Well, good news. I mean, that's not gonna take 10 years, I told you this.
What?
The planning and zoning.
Oh,
They
yes,
approved the revisions related to senior
I was
housing.
gonna ask you that.
That's nice.
Excellent.
Which is on Monday.
Yes.
So Mr. Mahoney has been working on RFP, it's fairly complete. And so the modified language though, is in the code company. It said that the way we have written the RFP, that at least 50% of the units need to be affordable. And 80% or less of the median income, right? 80% or less, the median income. But then out of that 50%, 25% or half of the 50%. They need to be exactly 60% or less of the median income.
Wait.
Okay. So if you take the
You're talking about the
number of units there, at least 50%, half of the units needs to be for people 80% or less median income.
of the proposed, the plan that we have, the two buildings there.
Right.
So, yeah,
In addition to that,
yeah,
within that 50%,
right.
half of it needs to be for people median income or 60% of the median income or less.
Who makes up this?
So it's really 25% at 80 and 25% at 60?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Basically that.
So here's the thing, you all know this, right? What we want to do is I want you all to think about this. We're gonna bring an RFP to you the next council meeting.
Yeah,
What we would staff is proposing is to have flexibility in the language to accommodate. Obviously, all of us would like to get all of the units affordable,
yes,
one option, because, and the other one, and the downside of that is the more affordable you go, fewer people will be willing to bid on it, because the financing is very difficult. Tax credits.
the more affordable you have.
So obviously, if you do more affordable, it'll go like hundreds, right?
Yes.
So what I want to do is to come to you, have some language in the RFP that allows us to pick the sweet spot. You will get to pick it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to, we don't want to send an RFP out and nobody responds, and then you have to tweak it and send it out again. So we'll think about how you might want to structure this. We'll have some language next meeting for you to review.
Yeah.
On where this will fall. Because I would like to get the RFP out in March if possible.
Yes, so let me ask you this question. So in talking to a couple developers that know this may occur, see whether this happen. That project as it is approved by us, several people that have built housing like that, say that's not the best plan. So I'm concerned like that plan, and of course the neighbors never liked it anyway, but that there's better ways to build that project.
So
It doesn't matter, right?
it's up to us.
They can do whatever, right? We're not following that plan.
No.
No, okay, good, yeah,
I mean,
because
they'll
there's other ways, yeah, I,
Said all of that?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, in other words, I think there's just different thoughts on how to
So you
construct
wanted
it.
some restrictions in terms of,
Yes,
you know, we
Yes.
wanted it to be all senior, but we really couldn't do that. the way
right, well, that part's
it was.
one thing, but we can't do that. I think that's another issue, but the issue was the buildings, I mean, people have told me like, hey, there's, we want to attract seniors there, we want it to be all
Right.
seniors. One level, you walk in, you don't have to go up buildings and elevators.
Right.
Yeah, that's what some folks that build some of those things have told me, but I don't know what the best plan is.
I'm sorry, I should have given some background. This was Knights of Columbus property.
Yes.
For the housing authority, but have been trying for the years or so.
And the clothing that never happened?
Yeah.
I'm there with you.
Well, they're trying to, with the planning and zoning, because previously we need to take some in for the housing authority to build that, now we can give to a private developer.
Yeah.
They're trying to discuss at what level of affordability the units you want to have it there. And even the 50 is not a number, we can pick what you would like or.
So we don't have any obligation anymore to the housing authority?
No.
Yeah, okay, I'm just curious.
Yes,
We had to ask all of them.
You're like, I'm not even that.
No.
Okay, so when the housing authority, so we wanted it all affordable, he was able to get $34 million in funding.
Actually, so even though we said that, he later said you can get any funding for senior affordable, then you don't get it for affordable, then marketing fee.
That's the whole problem now too, right?
But even if it's been affordable, he was looking to have the whole project affordable, 100%, right?
Yeah, we don't know what he's. Who knows? But we can't. Well, we hope, but we can't, I guess there is something, right? You can't say it's senior housing, right? We've heard that time and time again, that we can't just
We
call
can't
it.
do that now, even though we're not going the
Well,
route
I mean,
we're going, I don't know.
That's Jeff, I mean, how do we just cannot call it senior housing? Because that was always our contention, we wanted obviously what we wanted for senior housing.
Because the funding was coming
When
from,
you,
yeah.
when you,
If it's private, I would think you could.
I mean, there's no restriction on what quality.
Right,
It's a question of, you know, whether you want to specify in an RFP
yeah, that's my question.
what you want a developer to propose, or whether you just want to see what they propose.
I mean,
Leave
we
it
could
open-ended.
start with that, I guess.
Yeah, 55 and up, I see them all the time. There's a-
Yeah.
But they're probably privately funded.
Yes, they are, well,
Yeah.
this would be, this would be really funded.
Without restriction.
There's no reason why you can't specify what you're looking for. There's nothing. It's just a funding source.
Yes,
Right.
all right, well. We wanted open-ended because I don't think we necessarily like the project as it was ultimately proposed.
Even for the cost for footage.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't know how they.
Build a
consider that
single family home for,
Yeah.
600,000 a unit or something, I think that's what it came out to.
Yeah, that's just.
Oh. Yeah, yeah, not affordable. Well, it never happened anyway, so, but, so, all right, so so,
Think about it.
yeah, we'll think about it a little bit before we put in the RFP, let's make sure we.
Yeah.
It'll be a draft, okay, good, thank you.
Because I would like to get.
Oh, yes,
Like, you know, in March and
Absolutely.
Yes.
guaranteed won't take 10 years to do it.
I don't think so. That's great.
And just one final note, it's not good news, but this I mentioned before about the retirement tsunamis. Cindy Moore, who's been with the town, especially for 38 years, is retiring next month.
38 years,
38 years.
that's quite a run.
Congratulations.
Cindy,
It was like he's.
Yeah, take, computer late.
Oh, yeah, it's both great.
Wait a minute, I'm gonna go talk to her before she leaves, yeah, we're gonna get all. No, I gotta get mine. I'm gonna get mine.
I got mine, but I'm having issues
I got-
getting
I
it
got-
on, and moving on, I'm just.
There we go.
I might be better.
Yeah, I can't even charge mine like that, I don't know.
When you come on Thursday,
I gotta bring it up, yeah.
you have a new tablet. right?
I know, I gotta get
I
it.
mean, how many months?
I got it.
Just come on Thursday,
I
go.
will, I'll be here then. I know I have time.
You got people.
Have we even approved the minutes from last meeting yet?
Yeah.
Nobody had it. Huh?
I'm finished.
I don't know. I haven't. Party.
Yeah, yeah.
When she leaving? The end of,
March 8th.
oh, wow, okay, so it's coming quick. Yeah. All right, that's too bad, but good for her, 38 years, that's a long time. All right, so special committee reports, what do we have? Well, we have the ordinance committee, we just had the ordinance committee, so we're looking at those items. We'll figure out how that goes, report back to the council at some point, council communications. Yes, sir. Yes, yes,
You asked me to look into the matter of asset.
yes,
And, spoke with the town engineer and Jimmy Harbaugh, who's in charge of our wetlands.
yes.
And they're getting a lot of information together. We're gonna have a meeting. That they tell Kate when it's gonna be. You said we had to notice the meeting for the Mattabesset watershed.
I was back and forth on that, you're right, I can't remember.
We take that day. I'll double check and make sure it's time. Thank you. All right, it's moving forward.
Good. Excellent. Any other, so, committee reports, so council communications, do we have anything?
And it starts tomorrow, session opens.
Oh, does it? Oh, that's right, tomorrow the 7th. Should be fun times.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, let's get a bunch of EVs so we can plug them in anywhere. Sorry, I'm sorry. All right, any other council communications? No? Okay, we'll close it out. Acceptance of minutes, we have 2 minutes to go, two meeting minutes to go. So a motion on the January 23rd special meeting to approve.
Will be approved the minutes as submitted.
January, okay.
Second.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, all right, so moved, and the January 23rd, 2024.
Will we accept those minutes?
Done there, thank you very much. Second, all those in favor? Opposed, so moved, and motion to adjourn.
Oh, gee, all right.
Aye, yeah, second, third, fourth, we're all in favor, yeah. All right. We're so, we're, when you. Thank you.
You say, Joe, I don't know the times.
They got it down. Better hurry, how old are they?
Trent is turning 11 in March and Vivian is 13.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That age.
Yeah, 15-year-old girl down to the grading. By the way. I think it has a moment, but man, she got about, right? She's like, Mom, I'm gonna be right.
All right.
Telling me that one of the highest